Hi, Arlen, and welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Hey, Jesse, thank you for having me. I appreciate being on, and I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be a topic that I'm super excited to dig into. So before we get started, do you want to just give a very quick intro to our listeners of you and your background and your area of expertise?
Well, I started our company, which is OmniStar Interactive. We were founded back in about the year 2000. Myself and my business partner both attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. We were computer engineering majors, computer science. Believe it or not, we actually realized that we were from the same town in Illinois. So after we graduated, both of us, we actually worked for different consulting firms in the Northern Virginia area for a couple of years. But on the side and at nights, a lot of late nights, burning the midnight oil, late nights, we were kind of putting the groundwork for what's OmniStar Interactive. We decided to create a suite of solutions. And the affiliate software, which is our main solution today, was the one that really kind of took off.
Yeah, so suffice to say, you're kind of the grandfather of affiliate marketing. You've been around. I have to say, I've been in this world for almost as long as you as well. So straight out of uni, I kind of got into digital marketing. So I know what it's like to kind of see all the changes, but feel really lucky to have you on here because suffice to say, affiliate marketing, is still growing strong and is a really key part of an e-com store's marketing mix in 2023. So can you tell me what are the most common strategies used in affiliate marketing particularly for e-commerce businesses that are working well right now?
Yeah, so when we're talking about affiliate marketing, first off, let me just kind of narrow the focus down on what we mean by it. Because when you use affiliate marketing, it can mean several different things. When we're talking about affiliate marketing from the aspect of a brand let's say you're a brand or an e-commerce brand, or you're just a brand selling a product or service in general. When we're talking about affiliate marketing, what we're talking about is launching a program where you're going to incentivize affiliates to promote your brand in exchange for an incentive. That incentive for affiliates, if you're looking at affiliates, and when we say affiliates, we're typically talking about people outside of the scope of your company. These are typically not customers. These are people that have their own networks of people, their own following. And this is what they do. They promote brands in exchange for a commission. And so they're not a customer, not familiar with your brand necessarily. And so you're getting these people to promote, and you're really creating kind of an outside network, if you will, of salespeople. And so that's really what we want to kind of focus on as far as affiliate marketing strategies. And as far as strategies that I've seen that have been successful for brands that have had a successful affiliate program is really, I guess, what I would say is to not only have that affiliate program where you're recruiting outside affiliates, outside influencers, but at the same time, launch a referral program where you're recruiting your own customers to promote your program. And when I say doing these simultaneously, is really kind of the key where you can kind of get more bang for your buck. When we're talking about a referral program, that's going to be a little bit different than your affiliate program. Typically with the affiliate program, you're going to incentivizing these affiliates with typically a percentage commission for each referred sale. And that commission is usually going to be cash. It can go range from anywhere between 10%, 20, 30%, whatever you work out with that particular affiliate. With a referral program where you're incentivizing your customers to refer people that they know, it's going to be a little bit different. Typically, in that case, you're going to be doing it so that you're giving them towards future products. That's the typical incentive for a referral program, because you're trying to keep everything kind of in-house. You're trying to increase your sales from these people. You're incentivizing them by giving them more product. And, that can be done via discount codes, credit online credit or gift cards and the like. And so a lot of the success that I've seen with the successful programs is when you're not solely focusing on just affiliates alone, but you also have a simultaneous program where you're getting your customers involved as well. So that's really where I've seen a lot of success from customers that we've had.
That's awesome.
With the referral program, I think you can launch it day one, because the thing with the referral program is what you're doing is you're really just leveraging the word of mouth nature of your customers, liking your product or services and telling their friends. Because these days we all know it. If you have a product or service that you're using and you like it, you're going to tell your friends and your family. You're going to talk about it on social media. You're going to talk about it to people you communicate with over the phone, via text messages. So people are going to do that regardless. If they see something hot, they're going to spread the word. And so I think you want to start capitalizing on that from day one. So I think straight out of the gate, launch a referral program, because you want to try to get that immediate traction. And there's also a viral nature to these referral programs, because if you got a hot product and initially you get it out there and the word starts spreading, it can really just start compounding and, can really, get big very quickly.
So what does the typical referral program look like? Like I know there's, every business is different and what works for a business, but what's the kind of blueprint that you would apply for a referral program? So is it that they buy and then 7 days later they get an email asking them to refer a friend with a referral link and they get a discount code of maybe it's 20% off for every friend they refer successfully? Is that kind of the way it works, or am I off the mark here? What's the typical?
You're definitely right in some aspects with regards to how you're engaging them. You mentioned letting the customers know maybe like a week later via email correspondence, letting them know, okay, you've got that referral program. This is what you can get. You can get a 20% discount on future products that you purchase from us. Sign up here. So that's definitely a great strategy. Put that email within your whole email funnel that you're going to send out to customers. So definitely on point with that. So that's one aspect of it. Another thing though is there's multiple ways that you can engage people with this referral. Number one is just straight up on the website, letting people know by a page on your website. That can be also done via pop-ups, via different interactive engagements that you have on the website. Live chat is another great way to let people know. So that's another way. Secondly, you can tell people immediately after purchase. So post-purchase, letting them know about the referral program right there on the thank you page that you have it, and, letting them know what they can earn. So you're really just trying, monopolize on the amount of areas that you're informing them from
That's
on
awesome.
the website. And then, lastly, one of the things that not a lot of people do, but I think it's very effective, is letting your customers know that you've got the referral program in your transaction emails. I'm talking about the order confirmation emails, the shipping confirmation emails. All of these emails, and people don't really realize, have some of the largest open and click-through rates out of any emails, because obviously when people purchase something, they're going to be checking those emails. They're going to be making sure, okay, did I get the right product? Did I pay the right amount? When can I expect it? Where's there an order status link that I can look for? So people are going to be all over these emails. And so what we recommend doing is letting people know of your referral program in those emails, but don't be just overly, intrusive with it. Just a small link in there, letting them know that you've got the referral program. Click here to sign up, because the focus still has to remain on the nature of those emails, which is that transaction. You don't want to distract from that. We'll definitely let people know
that's awesome.
subtly in those emails.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting, isn't it? We just forget sometimes. You just have to ask people to do stuff and remind them, otherwise it doesn't happen.
Right,
awesome. Okay, circling back to affiliate marketing then. So I know, so the general principles are clear to me and probably to most of our listeners, right? You're incentivizing these potential partners to promote your products. They would be typically, they might be bloggers, influencers. I mean, in the e-com space, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. So we're kind of in an interesting space right now, and an interesting time, because you mentioned affiliates, you've mentioned influencers, and a lot of times people use those terms interchangeably. The way I like to look at it now, because we've kind of advanced so quickly into this whole social media world, I like to think of influencers as really just the affiliates of today. So I don't really know if there's too much of a difference when you think of affiliates and influencers, because they're really doing the same thing. They are a group of people that have a specific following online, and nowadays it's mainly social media, the social media accounts, social media handles. And what they're doing is they are putting out content. Maybe they're educating people, they're getting people to follow them. And in between what this community that they have, they are promoting products for a commission. And that's really it, so that kind of all comes under the same category. When you're talking about affiliates, you're talking about influencers, you're talking about bloggers. I think they're really kind of one and the same these days. And it's just influencers, and, it's really been kind of the buzzword of today, because there's been so many standout influencers that have really just kind of, captured everyone's attention.
Yeah. So as the typical influencer today that we're so imagine we're a fashion brand and we've got our eye on some influencers we want to work with. What does the typical deal process look like? Because influencers, in my mind anyway, typically want some upfront cash as well as commission.
Mm-hmm.
Although I know, and then when I think of like affiliates, I'm thinking more of like them being happy to work on commission only, but I think maybe you're saying that kind of distinction is maybe blurred. So are we typically expecting to have to engage them in some upfront payment before, as well as a commission, or how does it typically work?
Well, that's a great question. But I think it really just comes down to what you negotiate. There's no set blueprint or set contract that you have to follow when you're engaging these affiliates and influencers. So, there's no one way that's just the right way that you have to follow. And I think there's cases where, you don't necessarily have to pay any upfront fees. I think it really is just going to depend. I think it really is going to come down to I guess you could say, the amount of weight, so to speak, that these influencers can pull. When I say amount of weight, I mean the network behind them, the amount of followers behind them. So, obviously, if we're talking about, and I'll kind of define the levels of influencers now, if we're talking about what's considered a mega influencer, that's somebody that has over 1 million followers on any of the major social networks. And when we're talking about mega influencers, we're typically talking about the celebrities, the reality stars, the sports figures, the entertainers. They're typically the followers, they're the mega influencers, and just people that have just attracted a mass amount of people by what it is that they do. So they're the mega influencers. Those are people that, of course, I think you're going to have to pay some type of upfront fee. They're probably not going to work on a commission, or they may work on both, where they're going to be working on you paying them a fixed amount fee to promote, as well as a commission on top of that based on the amount of product that they send, that they're going to sell for you, or they're going to get customers to buy from you. So that's kind of where that goes. If we go down the pyramid, so to speak, the next level within the macro influencer, and these are people that are a little bit smaller. They have followings of about 500,000 to 1 million followers, and could be the same thing. You may have to negotiate something where you're going to pay a fee. But what I like for brands to focus on, brands that aren't these large enterprise brands or smaller businesses, I think the sweet spot is the micro influencer. Now, the micro influencer are those influencers that have a following anywhere between 10,000 to 50,000 followers on the social networks and any of the major networks. That's the sweet spot. Now, these people, even though those numbers may not seem large, they typically have a more loyal following because they're going to have a lot more engagement with their followers. There's a lot more interaction. A lot of their followers they may know personally, and they're just going to be able to maintain a relationship a lot more effectively when you're dealing with those smaller numbers. And that's the sweet spot because of that tight-knit relationship that they have, they're going to trust, their followers are going to trust more of what they put out, more of what they recommend. And these types of influencers, I think you would be in a position where you could negotiate a relationship where, you could just do a relationship where you're going to give them just a commission on referred fees. I don't think that would be unreasonable dealing with these type of influencers, and you wouldn't necessarily need to pay any type of large upfront fee. And I think that's a real sweet spot for brands that is often overlooked.
Cool. So how does a brand go about accessing these kind of micro influencers? Because I think what's overwhelming often for brands is like there's a lot of work involved, right? And like looking for them, keeping track of them, engaging them, having a contract with them, checking that they've done everything. Sure. How does a brand go about like managing that whole process?
Yeah, that's another great question. And I know that's always a concern for a brand because everybody hears about influencer marketing. They hear about how effective it can be, but they're like, all right, do we really want to do the work, or do we have the resources in place to be able to just manage this? And it's definitely possible. So there's a number of ways that you can go about trying to, first off, engage these influencers, because that's where it's going to begin. How do you hook them? How do you reel them in, so to speak? So that's square one. So one specific method that I like to, talk about that is not often used is just dedicating this to just anybody on your team. Doesn't necessarily even have to be a marketing person on your team. Somebody that you can just task. There's no really experience that would require for this. And this is just to do searches, hashtag searches on any of the major social networks. So let's say we'll just talk about Instagram because hashtags are more prevalent on Instagram. And so all you need to do is do some hashtag searches that are going to be specific to your industry and specific to a specific influencer. So let me give you an example. We talk about fashion. Fashion is, of course, a big niche and where influencers are prevalent on. And let's say you're based out of the city of Chicago. You could right now, if you were to go on Instagram and do a search for the hashtag Chicago fashion blogger or Chicago fashion influencer. I did this the other day and I've got about almost 50,000 results. So that specific hashtag was used over 50,000 times on Instagram. And so because, as you see, that's such a specific hashtag, only people that are using that are actually going to be influencers or going to be bloggers because, they want to make that known that they're a blogger, they're an influencer. And that's just one example. So doing a search on specific hashtags where you include blogger, you include influencer, and associate that with the industry that you're in, you're going to get some great results. And then it's just going to come down to approaching them, sending them direct messages, finding what their other social handles are, doing searches, trying to get their email address, and then doing your pitch. And that's why I say this is something that can be tasked with really just anybody on your team to do this, get them in a database, do a follow-up sequence, and starting to grow and find that relationship right there. And then just doing your pitch, letting them know you are this brand or you're representing this brand. We're looking for an influencer to promote, and then go from there. So that's really the step one to find them. I think that's a great way to get them. Another way to find influencers and to help manage the process, especially if you're a brand that, like you said, you may not necessarily want to go through the process of doing all of that individual outreach. These days, there are plenty of influencer marketing services or databases that you can actually sign up for. I like to think of them as, I guess you could say, kind of like matchmaking services or dating services for brands and influencers. And so there's many of them out there. One of them is, you can go to influencer.co is one, influencers.com is another one. There's many of them. If you just do a Google search on influencer marketing network. And what these services do is they have a database of influencers for brands that you can go on. A lot of them will allow you to do some free searching. And then the paid aspect of it comes into play, where you need to get a paid account, is if you want to actually get in touch with these influencers and if you want to facilitate a relationship. And so these sites actually work as kind of a middleman. And when the fact that they kind of facilitate the relationship, the payment goes to this company, they facilitate all of that. You don't have to worry about the contracts and negotiation. They handle all of that. And so that's another way to really, start to get that relationship going and get it managed and get access to a pool of influencers without having to do your own, outreach.
Awesome. And what about the tracking? So, if the main place that this influencer is influencing people is through like TikTok or Reels, how are we tracking whether it's effective, and how are we paying them a commission when, we can't necessarily like use tracking links in those places? Can we, or can we?
That's a great question. And that's where an affiliate software solution comes into play. And that's where like a solution like ours, OSI Affiliate Software, would come into play. You did mention, and you're correct, Instagram, TikTok, Reels. Yeah, there's no tracking link you can actually embed in those. With Instagram right now, really the only thing you can do as far as like a trackable link is if an influencer has over 10,000 followers, they can have access to those swipe up pages where when you swipe up in one of the stories, it can load an external link. But yeah, that influencer would have to have at least 10,000 followers to be able to have that functionality. So yeah, I mean, that's one way of doing it. But for everybody else, or for any influencer out there that doesn't have that capability, one of the things that you can do is create a promo code, a unique promo code for that particular affiliate, and then have that tied into your affiliate software solution. So solutions like ours, OSI Affiliate Software, will allow you to create promo codes that are tied to your e-commerce platform, so that you've created a promo code that's tied to your e-commerce platform, that's also tied to your affiliate software, so that anytime that promo code is used, the affiliate that is tied to that, or that influencer is tied to that code, is going to get credit. And so that's definitely something you want to have in place in order to be able to effectively track the use of these codes, and how much business really are these guys sending your way. You definitely got to get that, have to have that in place.
Yeah, awesome. And so say the brand, I'm imagining the brand's identified, 10 influencers that they want to work with. They've cut the deal, they've cut the commission. What sort of campaign or content strategies are we then employing? How are they working with those influencers to make sure the content like resonates with their brand? What strategies do work best in terms of working with those influencers to get the kind of campaigns that will actually be successful?
Right. Great question. It really is going to come down to square one before you even solidify that relationship with the influencer, because I think what you want to do as a brand is, when you are looking for these influencers, you're doing your outreach, maybe you're doing your own outreach, or you're using one of these, influencer brand databases, matchmaking services, however you do it to get them. One of the things that you want to do when you're vetting these influencers is you want to make sure that your mission and your core company values align with that particular affiliate, because I think that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. You want to make sure that you've done your due diligence, and you've kind of really just had somebody on your team scrub everything that you can find about this influencer, all their social handles, their posts from months ago, years ago, or what is it that they're promoting? What are they talking about? Because you want to make sure you've got somebody that is really in line with your core values, because if not, there's going to be a mismatch. And no matter what it is that you're promoting, whatever sale you've got, whatever latest fashion of the year you've got out, if it's not a match with their audience that they're communicating with and the things that they communicate about, you're going to get the terrible results. So I think that's where it really begins, is making sure you've done that due diligence. And it's almost like you're vetting them, you're putting them through an interview, asking them key questions, you're scrubbing all of their social handles, you're looking at, their history of posts, and you're making sure that you have that right fit. Because I think if you've done that, you've done your job, then, as a brand, if you've got, let's say, like you said, next season's, summer fashions, you're not going to worry too much about an alignment, a mismatch alignment. You just know that your particular brand is really going to resonate with their followers and their audience, because, that's just who they're targeting and kind of, what they're about.
Yeah, I guess that's just so important these days. Like, you could be working with an influencer that was like racist 5 years ago, and then then it all comes out and your brand gets brought down with them. It's really interesting. I was listening to a podcast yesterday about kind of psychology and how we're influenced as humans to make buying decisions, etc. And they were talking about how, you remember Jersey Shore, the TV show, and there was like Snooki and there's some other guy. So apparently the rival to Gucci sent a Gucci bag to Snooki so that she would wear it around and Gucci would look worse, so that their brand would look better. And then also apparently Abercrombie and Fitch paid the other guy, the famous guy from it, they paid him a huge payout to never wear Abercrombie and Fitch. So this is where, like, as a brand, we need to think, you need to think about, like, is this influencer absolutely aligned with our values, who we want to be, the audience we want to reach? Because if that influencer leads you down a path of like attracting the wrong kind of audiences, or indeed like positioning your product in the wrong way, then it's really hard to recover from that, isn't it? And as shown by these brands paying a lot of money to not have a certain person wear their product. Pretty interesting. So I wonder do you know if there's any tools you can use to like scrape an influencer's entire, look for certain words they might have used in the past or anything like that? There must be some tools out there, maybe.
Well, a lot of those type of components you will see in the affiliate marketing services and databases, because that's kind of their value add, is because they've compiled a whole database of these influencers, how many followers they have across each channel, the keywords that they typically post about, the areas that they're posting, the type of brands that they follow. So all of that data is really kind of where they kind of come into play. Other than that, I'm sure there's probably some services out there that aren't necessarily affiliate, influencer marketing services where you can get this information. I mean, other than that, these days, if you've got a developer that's maybe familiar with the Python coding language, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, you can definitely create a script that will be able to, do some type of script.
Look for certain words. Because I imagine that's probably how the press are doing it, right? When they're like looking into the background of someone, they're probably not doing it manually. They're just looking back to see whether they've ever said, some terrible words that no one should ever say.
Exactly.
So, okay, that's so fascinating. All right. So, so it's all about picking the right influencers. You can use some of these networks and tools to do that. You can do your due diligence, and then you cut the deal, and then it's about, seeing whether they were successful. So you use like a tracking code or some kind of code that they would share with their followers. And then if they're a successful influencer, you might engage them in a more long-term relationship. So when I was at Etsy, I was head of performance marketing, and I had a team who looked after affiliate when I was there. And this was 5 years ago now. So that team was quite a large team, and their job was kind of constantly it was almost like a PR role, where they were building relationships with these, what were then bloggers or influencers. They were constantly coming up with, say it's Easter's coming, or spring, or Black Friday, whatever it might be. They were engaging these influencers that we then had in our database with new ideas for content, new ways to like kind of product, or new products that they could share. So is a kind of highly evolved affiliate marketing program for a larger brand? It looks a bit like that, does it? Like where there's a team or a person whose job it is to kind of run these relationships?
Yeah, exactly. What these brands will typically do, the larger brands, and even some of the smaller brands, is they'll hire a affiliate marketing manager, affiliate manager, and that's their goal. It can start from obtaining the correct software solution to manage the program and to launch their affiliate program, to then also recruiting the affiliates and managing the relationships that they have, also communicating and facilitating the communication between the needs for that affiliate program with the other teams, like the graphic design team, the product team. So they need to be abreast of any new products that are coming out, the sales that are coming out. So all of that. So they really kind of sit in the middle there and manage everything. And the goal, of course, their job is really to, get these affiliates to really increase sales. And that's really kind of how their success is measured is basically on performance.
Yeah.
What the activity is.
Well, I mean, at Etsy, certainly I remember the leadership team really loved affiliates because it was, well, especially the way we ran it at Etsy, we weren't doing upfront payments. We were doing it purely based on commission. So it was performance based. So any cost to the business was only incurred when we made sales for the business. And the absolute beauty of it, the added benefit was like we were getting all this content, we were getting all this coverage, we were getting all this kind of inbound marketing happening regardless of whether the sale happened. So we only had to pay when the sale happened, but we were getting additional kind of free exposure and coverage and followers and all of that. So I think there's some other really strong arguments for doing affiliate marketing from a brand reach perspective, because that coverage is essentially free and you're only paying when someone buys. So yeah, it's definitely something to consider getting on board with. What do you, in terms of e-commerce niches, like what are there particular niches that do particularly well? I mean, obviously I think fashion, jewelry, accessories, I imagine homeware as well as pretty good. Kids products I know would be good. I guess it's challenging when the products are very big or expensive because you can't allow the kind of sampling in the same way. Any other kind of niches or sectors that you see as really, really good for this type of marketing?
Yeah, and it always changes over the years. So there'll be a period where I remember several years ago, really, and it's probably still big today, but I know several years ago, I mean, we were just getting, every week we were getting a lot of customers that were in the hair extension space. That's a niche that I'm sure it still is today, very popular amongst, affiliate marketing, affiliate programs, so yeah, hair extensions, that was kind of like a key thing there. Another thing that we're starting to see a lot more of now is the supplement space, or any brand that is in the, not necessarily just supplement, but or in the category of a superfood. These days there's a variety of different superfoods. One of the big ones right now, type of superfood, organic superfood, is called CMOS. Their program just exploded and their sales exploded soon after they launched their affiliate program. And we've actually had other companies that have been with us for a long time in the supplement space where, affiliate marketing, it just works really well because it's something that lends to people spreading the word, because it's something people are taking, they're seeing great benefits, and they just want to tell everybody, especially if it has something to do with weight loss or, hair care, skin care. There's skin benefits to CMOS as well. And so those are things that can visibly be shown across social media. So that makes it great.
That's really interesting. Beauty and makeup is obviously another category that's absolutely huge for affiliates as well, isn't it? Cool. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we sign off?
Well, yeah, the one thing that I would share is that this affiliate marketing is not going anywhere, and it's not too late to get into the game. So if you're a brand, you're an e-commerce brand, and you haven't launched an affiliate program, it's never too late to start. And then just start your groundwork, to start, finding those affiliates, launching your own in-house referral program as well, getting somebody on your team to, do the due diligence, to do that outreach, to try to find those affiliates. And like I said, if you want to start somewhere, micro influencers are a great way to start, because I think they're obtainable for a lot of brands. You don't have to worry about trying to snag one of these big fishes where they're the mega influencers of the world. You don't have to worry about that if you're not, able to get to those levels at this point.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome advice and really actionable, tactical stuff that people can jump on straight away. So I love that. Cool. Where can people follow you?
You can go to get to our website, OSI Affiliate Software. And then secondly, to find out a little bit more about me and all of my adventures in business, you just go to my website, arlenrobinson.com.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link those in the show notes. Thanks for coming along.
No problem. Thank you, Jesse, for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us here on the E-commerce Impact Podcast. If I can ask you one favor, can you please make sure you subscribe? And if you can, leave us a review. It helps us have a much bigger impact with what we're trying to do here at the E-commerce Impact Podcast. Now, if you're ready to take your e-com store to the next level, then go to www.ecommerceimpactpodcast.com and click on the button to book a strategy call with me or my team. We offer a free order of your advertising and a custom growth plan, so you really have nothing to lose by getting in touch and jumping on a call with us. See you soon, and watch out for the next episode in 2 weeks' time.